I wasted years on vision boards and affirmations before I realised Neville wasn't teaching techniques at all. I had no money, no relationship, and books that promised everything but delivered nothing. After 3 decades as a psychotherapist, I read him like I read my clients, not as techniques, but as descriptions of a quiet mind. His living in the end isn't a visualization exercise. It's what happens when your mind settles into a new state. Here's the problem. Neville Goddard is quoted everywhere in manifesting circles, but he's quoted in bite-sized chunks, stripped of all context. Someone pulls a sentence from a 1940s lecture about the Bible, slaps it on Instagram and tells you to visualize harder. That's not what he was doing. Neville was a mystic. He spoke in the language of his time, which was deeply biblical and deeply metaphorical. The modern manifesting world found his work, loved the results people reported, and immediately turned it into another factory of techniques. SATS, which stands for state akin to sleep, for those of you who may not know, became a nightly checklist. Living in the end became forced daydreaming. The bridge of incidents became proof that the universe was arranging your parking spaces. But here's what I see as a psychotherapist. This is the exact same thing people do with self-help books. They read something true about how the mind works, and instead of letting it land, they turn it into a performance, another thing to do, another way to prove they're trying hard enough. Neville never asked anyone to prove anything. He wasn't giving you instructions to manipulate some outside force called the universe or God or the divine. He was describing inner events, psychological events that happen naturally when a person's assumptions shift. When you read him that way, the whole thing changes, starting with the concept everyone's got wrong. Before we get into that, let me tell you about some companion resources I've put together for this video inside my new Living Effortlessly Inner Circle. When you go to the page, you'll find some free material to help you understand this approach more clearly, including a short guide to applying assumption without turning it into another technique. You'll also see that some of the deeper material is reserved for members who want to go further. So, if this way of looking at Neville speaks to you, the link is below in the description, or here's a QR code if you prefer to scan. Start with the free resources, have a look around, and then decide whether you want to go deeper. Or if you feel you want to take the plunge, enroll for the paid package. I've made it very affordable, so the choice is yours. Let's start with the one everyone asks about, living in the end. The common reading says this means lying in bed, forcing a detailed scene, feeling it as real as you can, then repeating it every night like homework. That's not living in the end. That's performing in the end. Neville described it differently. He told a woman who wanted to be married to imagine a wedding ring on her finger, touch it, turn it around, feel it until she was surprised it wasn't there when she opened her eyes. Notice what he actually said. He didn't say visualize a big wedding with flowers and guests. He said feel the ring until it feels ordinary, until it feels like Tuesday. That's the difference that changes everything. Living in the end isn't a visualization exercise. It's an assumption that has become so natural, so ordinary, that you forget it isn't already true. The surprise isn't, wow, I manifested it. The surprise is that the new state feels so completely normal, you momentarily forget it wasn't there before. When I read that through the eyes of a psychotherapist, I see something completely different. I see a person whose internal assumptions have settled. Their mind isn't arguing about whether they deserve what they want. The thought storm has calmed down, and what's left is a simple, settled feeling that doesn't need to be forced. That's the state. My own version of living in the end is incredibly simple. My assumption is, no matter what I want, that there's always a way and that it will show up. That's universal and also irrefutably true if you just allow it. And here's where it falls apart for almost everyone. They try to force the feeling while their gut knows it's fake. If you're choosing between paying the mortgage and buying food, someone telling you to feel abundant feels like lying to yourself. And that internal conflict, that's what keeps you stuck. You're not in a new state. You're in a fight with your old state, and the old state usually wins. You don't need to manufacture a new feeling from thin air. You need to see through the thought storm that's convincing you things are stuck. When the noise settles, what's underneath is already there. A quiet mind naturally assumes differently. You don't need scene looping. You don't need forced emotion. A settled mind handles the rest on its own. But if living in the end is just a settled feeling, how do you actually get there without forcing it? Everyone thinks SATS is the answer, and they're half right, which is why it gets turned into a nightly homework assignment. SATS, state akin to sleep. If you've been in manifesting circles for more than 5 minutes, you've heard someone describe it like a military operation. Lie flat on your back, control your breathing, loop a specific scene over and over until you literally fall asleep from exhaustion. Neville described it in completely different terms. The state where the conscious and subconscious are creatively joined, the hypnagogic state, that drowsy gap right before sleep where your mind is still awake, but the usual noise has quietened down. Or that strange, lovely moment just after waking where you're aware but not fully up yet. Your body is still, your thoughts have slowed, and something underneath is suddenly accessible. Jose Silva had a version of this, which he discovered could be accessed through a kind of hypnosis. Again, a semi-awake state, where the person's brain waves are predominantly alpha. Neville wouldn't have known about alpha brain waves. Those discoveries were after his time. But state akin to sleep is precisely the same thing. He even admitted how difficult it is for anyone to sit quietly without drifting into uncontrolled thinking. Now think about that. That's not a teacher setting a high bar for a difficult technique. That's someone describing what actually happens when a human body gets still. The mind wanders, it daydreams, it enters a reverie all by itself. That's not failure. That's the state doing what the state naturally does. So here's the psychotherapist's translation. SATS isn't a technique you master through discipline. It's a natural brain state you learn to notice. When you're drowsy and quiet, your conscious resistance is down. The part of your mind that usually argues with new ideas has clocked off for the night. In that gap, a new assumption can slip in and settle without a fight. No forcing required. The mistake is turning this into a performance you can fail at. The moment SATS becomes homework, your mind tenses up, and a tense mind can't enter the state it needs. You're lying there thinking, am I doing this right? Is the scene detailed enough? Why am I not feeling it yet? That's the opposite of SATS. That's anxiety with your eyes closed, and anxiety doesn't create anything useful. And this, by the way, is exactly the kind of thing we'll be unpacking in the Living Effortlessly Inner Circle. Because you don't need more manifestation instructions. You need help seeing where the instruction has turned into pressure. On the Inner Circle page, you'll find free resources that go with this teaching. And if you enroll in the paid option, you'll unlock some deeper material, including practical workbooks and private lessons designed to help you apply this without making it another job. So again, the link is in the description below, or you can just scan this QR code. Start with the free material first. If it resonates, the paid tier is there when you're ready. So, what's the effortless version? Go to bed like you always do. Let your mind wander where it wants. When you notice you're drowsy and the thought storm has faded for a moment, let yourself feel what you'd feel if things were already settled. Not a complicated scene, not a movie you're directing. Just the simple feeling of, this is done, and drift off. The state does the rest. But okay, once you're in that state, what happens next? That's where the bridge of incidents comes in. And this is where people start looking for magic. The usual explanation says the bridge works like this. You do your SATs correctly. You live in the end. And then mysterious coincidences start lining up. Someone messages you out of the blue. A check arrives unexpectedly. The universe is arranging things on your behalf. Neville had a completely different take. An assumption builds a bridge of incidents that leads inevitably to the fulfillment of itself. But almost nobody quotes what came next. He said, when you get to the other side, it seems so natural you might say to yourself, why, it would have worked anyway. That's the whole point. The bridge isn't magic. It's your own psychology reorganizing around a new assumption. That's why I so like making the assumption that there's always a way, even if I can't see what it is yet. When your internal state shifts, you behave differently in ways you don't even notice. You say yes to things you used to refuse. You see opportunities that were already there, but your old mind filtered out. You respond to people differently, and they respond differently back. Steve Jobs put it this way. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. That's the bridge. Looking back, the path makes perfect sense. Looking forward, it's invisible because you're building it without knowing you're building it. Your job is the state, not the engineering. You don't need to figure out how it will happen. In fact, you can't. The bridge only makes sense in hindsight, which is why Neville said you'd forget the whole thing once you got there. And if you'd like help taking this further, that's what the Living Effortlessly Inner Circle is for. It's not a place for more spiritual homework. It's where I'm putting the deeper lessons, workbooks, reflection guides, and practical resources that sit behind these videos. Some resources are free, so you can get started without paying anything. Others unlock when you enroll in the paid tier. So if you want to go beyond watching the video and actually start applying this calmer understanding to your own life, click the link below and visit the Inner Circle page. Start with the free resources if you're not sure. Then see whether the deeper material feels right for you. Again, the link's in the description, and here's the QR code again if you prefer to scan. So what does all this mean for you? Neville's system collapses into one thing. Stop performing states and notice what happens when your mind gets quiet. No universe, no rituals, no outside agency. Most people won't do this because it feels too simple. They'd rather fail at a technique than live a truth. Tell me in the comments which translation landed with you most. I hope this video has been helpful and even perhaps a little thought-provoking in a good way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon in another video.